Oh, welcome back my gardening friends. It's a bit parky this morning. It's March the 3rd 2024. Another good frost, out gritting last night again. Not much sleep, but Mrs K has got me some DIY jobs to do. The whole house basically. But as we arrive on plot 1, we're going to have a couple of hours here this morning. Already been here a little while just preparing for this video. It doesn't just happen, you know. Everything in the cabbage cage, as we call it, is okay. We've got one more cabbage down there to harvest if it's any good, but the strawberries look so much better now that they've been potted in. We've got them out the pots. We forgot some of the wire clips, but never mind, we can soon make some new ones. But in here will be some of my giant vegetables. So these pipes, old barrels that we cut into slithers, will be topped up, and those pipes there are for watering down to the roots, so we get the water to where we want it. Feed from the top, water from the bottom. Even the blackberries have started to grow, and literally some of the leaves from last year are still on there, so looking forward to a nice bumper crop. We really did look after these over the winter months. We're supposed to be in spring. The raspberries, autumn fruiting, are just started to shoot now, so when they shoot and grow, that's where we get the fruit from this year. It's different with the summer fruiting. We'll show you that shortly. These are my 2 beds here, Vegega beds. Links are in the description below, where my dahlias are. Still got plenty of the found compost. Managed to top this bed up in the week. Even if I get 15-20 minutes, half an hour, get a few jobs done. Still got these canes to do, low priority at the moment, but some of the rhubarb is now trying to come through. Hope that isn't a seed head, just means it's stressed a little bit. But the rhubarb's coming through there. This variety is always around about this time, no matter what the weather, even though we did have a very warm, wet February, which is very unusual for here in the UK, and I think the record's been broke for the amount of water again. So these are the summer fruiting. So we cut out all the canes that fruited last year. These were the canes that grew last year, so we left them in. So basically those that have been cut off are 2 years old. And that warm spell has set everything off. I just hope my pear tree doesn't flower too early, or else I won't get many pears again, because the frost will damage the flowers and the blossoms and everything else, and they won't grow. The manure's still the same. I collect the water off the roof to keep the water off the manure, so when we collect the juices, they're of a decent concentrate. We've been putting those straight onto the Jerusalem artichokes and some of the fruiting bushes, and anything else we store in those 2 barrels there. So we should have 400 litres of liquid black gold concentrate to use throughout the summer. This is for any of my new subscribers, which there's probably 200 that haven't had a tour. Must find somewhere for these finds there. Oh, you know what they are. To give a bit of shade to some of my giant veg. The frost has knocked back the winter tares and the clover this morning. Some surplus strawberries there. And then we've got the greenfield beans, more winter tares, and the greenfield beans. Not sure whether I'm going to let any go to seed. The seeds are cheap enough. We got these from Malvern King Seed had a stand, and they were selling everything for £1, even the green manure. Bargain. Well worth popping into the Harvest Festival tent to see who's there. Tulips are growing really nicely now. We will be changing all this if my strawberries do better in the cabbage cage. The poor daffodils yesterday, their heads were held up high in the sunshine, and after that cold they've just bowed their heads and saying, yes, you're cold. Jobs for March, we've got to get this mini walk-in greenhouse sorted. Bought it a couple of years ago from Home Bargains. Quite cheap, I thought, at the time. Didn't find time to build it. And we'll let these strawberries do their thing this time, and then we'll strip these down and probably just go too high, which will give me an extra 4 pallet collars to do what I wish elsewhere. More dumping grounds. Won't be long before we switch this on to get those wicks and the guttering, rainwater guttering in there. They're all connected via the wicks into them pots, and this time we haven't took anything apart. We've left all the stakes in, ready to go. I'll try and keep the watering cans out the sunshine. It's quite shaded here because the roses do tend to go brittle before the cans do. We collect the juices from the wormery bin on the larger scale. Let's see if anybody's at home. It's been very quiet in here. The worms seem happy enough, and we've been harvesting some of the material in here, and it's excellent stuff. And any material that hasn't broken down, we'll pop it back in once we've got the layer of straw, and then we just need to clear this area up. Sad news, I think I'm going to get rid of my trommel. Both my tyres on the electrical part of the mobility scooter have gone down, and I don't think I'm going to be collecting that many leaves in the future, so it does take up a lot of room, but it certainly has helped me out in the past. We just dropped that engine onto there, the motor shall we say, where the bits of silicone are, and it spins it round. Does save a bit of work, but I don't mind a bit of exercise. So this is the leaf mould. Let's get thinking now. So they're the leaves we collected in 2022, autumn of 22. So these were the leaves we collected in autumn 21. I think there's 25 1-ton bags gone into here. So it's nice stuff. We'd have normally harvested that in the autumn and filled the bins. Because we've had the polycarbonate, a little bit of light's got through, but as you can see there, it's cracking stuff, and there's plenty there. It's over a cubic metre, but by the time it's fluffed up, there's probably end up 2 cubic metres to go into my growing spaces. And the issue we had with those horrible plants flying everywhere, the seeds, they're growing absolutely everywhere again. But we'll get on top of them as long as we don't let them get too big. And this one, we're going to, I'm going to rob some from there, and then I'm going to rob some from here. But at the moment it's quite damp because we've had cardboard put on top of it. You can see how the cardboard breaks down. And the cardboard, when it starts off, is really thick stuff, but the worms love going in there, making friends and creating baby worms. So eventually, I don't know when, probably when everything's planted and we've got a little bit of time, all that cardboard and my tubs will end up going in there. So we'll have a bit of a change around. Can't get at it at the moment because I need to empty some of that out. But until I've topped all my beds up, I'll take some of the good stuff, and then after that we'll put it all back together and put that into there and fill it right up as far as it'll go. That should work. Need to get my spray cans out and give the pelicans a little spruce up for the summer. Getting a little bit overcrowded in here now. But I think popping the asparagus stalks on top of there has worked, and the squirrels are keeping guard in case any predators come along, that protecting any animals that might be hibernating in there. Very bright this morning, but all my, well, 3 out of 4 of my blueberries now in containers. I was told a long time ago that they did better in containers. They restrict the roots. They think they're probably going to die and produce lots of berries, but they're all looking pretty good at the moment. And all the time that I spent in here getting all this side sorted, that's going to help me so much now. Open the area up a little bit. We've removed some of the bushes. Some are fruiting. Raspberries are sprouting as well at the ends. They'll throw runners out again, similar to these. So if you just, when at the end of the season, I'll snip them off, then they'll throw shoots out, and we'll get even more fruit. One year I weighed all the fruit from out of the off that one raspberry, and it worked out at about £2,000 worth of raspberries. So it soon paid for my allotment plots. Just gorge yourselves with raspberries. I think we gorge ourselves with it wherever we grow. I've started making jam, started making crumbles, and we're eating those throughout the winter. We completed the Jerusalem artichoke bed. I've gone away from pots. I've done it always in the ground, bigger plastic containers. Then I went back to pots. Now I've gone back this way again. Too late now. That's where we are, and that's where we're going to stay. I removed some of the leaves that we put on there, with the wind helping me. Need to top up the underground worm farms. As you can see there, the lid that I used to cover the material, that was full. So you can see the worms have been busy. They'll venture from worm farm to worm farm, weeing and pooing as they go. And I've just found those in there. I'm sure they wouldn't have been in the my mix. So I don't know whether the mice have brought them in. I don't know. I don't know what they are, but I might even pop them up. On a previous vlog, I uncovered these because they were getting too big, and the pigeons had them straight away. Within 2 days they'd stripped the tops, and the purple sprouting is now growing. I need now to take the sprouts off, cut them here, peel them here, and pop them in a container and get them in the fridge at home during March. As you can see, they're just starting to open up, but there's still a good centre in there. A little bit crispy this morning, and then I can tidy this bit up. They're the I don't know whether the pigeons have been. Pigeons have been here. Look, don't poop on them. The excuse me moments are a little bit awkward then. That added extra little bit of crunch. As you can see, that grew back lovely. Won't affect the florets, but you just have to watch out where you're putting your fingers. I'm going to have to put my sprouting broccoli in a bed that I don't put my temporary compost bins in. I've topped this bed up with the siftings from the brand new compost for my long roots. So I've used those. They're the bigger bits that won't go through the fire guard. I'll have enough to finish that bed. That bed there will probably get topped up from the temporary compost bins. I've been adding all my siftings where I've been topping the beds up. I'll show you that shortly. In February we got these carrot stations ready, and I forgot to pull the plastic back, guys. Never mind. We did the same with the parsnips. Shan't be sowing those till April. but any rain we get now will soak up, the cocoa coir will soak up the moisture from out the bed and from out of the sky, so that the compost or cocoa coir is put in there bone dry. So it just needs time. And my second parsnip bed needs topping up with the material I'll show you shortly. A few more beds topped up. I need to harvest all the oprea and the walking onions this time. Get as much out as I can. I'm going to move them, he says, and get this bed topped up. Another one here topped up, and we use the float to get a reasonable finish. It doesn't stop the cats from walking all over it, I've noticed just recently. So this would have been where all that leaf mould would have been sifted in my trommel and brought over into here, but now we've got the 3 to 4 year old wood chips. This is all my material from my potatoes. It's homemade from the worm bin and other additions. This is the compost we find with the added perlite, and this is the compost that we find, which is the cocoa coir. As you can see, I'm getting down it really quickly now, guys. So I did promise in my new year that I would refrain from collecting. It ain't gonna last long, is it? Oh, I did mean to show you something. There's this year's garlic and elephant garlic that I originally had off Mark Herdis. Oh, got to be 8 years ago, so I'll keep it going. And there's the red Russian that I got off from William Coleman. I'll just nip back to the compost bin area. Now, this is the garlic that we haven't used at home that started sprouting. This is the garlic that I put into the water 2 or 3 years ago. It smells. I've never smelt nothing like it in my life. The wife will probably say, well, I probably smell like that, but you can't smell yourself, can you guys? So I'll be breaking the clothes up, popping them in some water, and I'll be using that on the bed that we had the white onion rot. And hopefully that will then draw. That's where the compost bins are, temporary compost bins. Once they're cleared, I'll spread that out. That'll attract the spores. They won't find anything nice to feed on, and they'll die. So we'll be able to use that bed for onions in the future. So we have the leaf mould. This is the mixes for the beds. Compost with a perlite in, cocoa coir, my old potato compost, and the soil. There's the bits that have been sifted from those other than the soil. There's the siftings from the soil where there's pebbles and everything in it. I used a homemade sifter. This one has gone completely rotten. You know what they look like. And I found some fans or fan covers. They decided, obviously in a cannabis grow, they're not fussy about health and safety, and it fitted perfectly in there. And you might be able to see the layers as I've sifted bits and bobs of all of them, and then we end up with this, which has cost me absolutely nothing. And as you've seen, look at the weeds. Can't pull them out today, guys. It's frozen. We end up with something like this. It doesn't stay like that for long, but it looks pretty for now. It keeps me motivated. So in the previous blog I said I'd spent some money on some clover compost, multi-purpose. That's basically just for my long roots. I try and grow the longest roots possible for the Malvern Autumn show. I use a fire guard then to sift the soil, because you basically want no resistance for the roots to travel as far down as you can and then end up in these water tubs at the end. Last year I was a complete failure. This year, hopefully I've learnt my lessons. Well, lots to do in March. Let's get out there and do lots of sewing, lots of preparing. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for the interaction. Leave me a comment on whatever subject you like, and why not consider subscribing. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now.